Thank you to the Ultimate Foundation and the Horns W. Goldsmith Foundation for helping make the PROJcast possible.
Welcome to our show. Join our flow. It's the 52nd Street PROJcast.
From the heart of Hell's Kitchen, this is the PROJcast, a podcast created by the community at the 52nd Street Project. We are a nonprofit in New York City that partners kids in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood with professional artists. I'm Garrett Kim, program director here at the project, and in this episode, we're featuring another piece from our radio making program from this past spring. If you listened to our most recent episode, you may recall that radio making is our newest program at the project, and it introduces older project members to the art of telling stories through audio. The radio making pieces you'll hear on this podcast were conceived, created, recorded, sound designed, and even performed by project members with support from adult volunteers. Today, we have a story made by Jasmine in which she chose to interview her father about his experiences going to prison as a young man. When she was putting together this story, Jasmine imagined herself as the host of an ongoing show of radio journalism that she called Double R, Real Stories from Real People. Please listen to the brief disclaimer read by Jasmine's partner for the radio making program, Flor-de-Lis Perez. And now, here's Jasmine's story.
The following interview mentions aspects of prison life that may not be suitable for younger audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
I'm your host Jasmine, and you are tuning into Double R, Real Stories from Real People. For this piece, I spoke to my dad about his time in and out of jail. This month of February makes 20 years that he has been out, and I am very proud of how far he's come since then. So I wanted him to be able to share his story and reflect on it, not only for himself, but to show another side of people who have been incarcerated, so that people see you can change no matter what, and be able to turn over another leaf. Alright, so was going to jail ever a fear of yours?
Yes, it was.
Why?
Because of the stuff that people used to say about jail. The things that, the rapes, the fights, and stuff like that. So, I was young.
What did you think when you first got arrested?
A lot of stuff. I was scared. I was like, wow, my parents are going to get pissed. A lot of stuff went through my mind. It goes crazy. Once they put those handcuffs on you, your life changes.
What was going on the day that you got arrested?
It was summer. Everybody was outside having fun, playing with the pump. Water. It was hot. And they stopped me. Cops stopped me and they found, a couple of bundles of dope on me. And they arrested me. I was like 21. Yeah, 21. Yep.
Did you have a trial?
No, I didn't want to take it to trial because they were offering me like 9 years. So I just took a cop out, a plea bargain, which was 2.5 to 5.
What was your experience like the first time you were in jail?
It was scary. Then I started, because the blacks were the blacks, the Puerto Ricans were the Puerto Ricans, and so when you come in, you got to go with the Puerto Ricans. So I went with the Puerto Ricans, and they, it was an old man there. He was one of the big guys there. He took me under his wing and showed me the ropes. And then after that, I started getting more, at ease about it, and the process went a little bit better
Did you start to feel as if you were changing as a person?
Yes. I started seeing a lot of stuff, different people, because I wasn't raised like that. You know, my parents raised me, raised me correct, It's just that I was, one of those kids that I wanted to do what I want to do. And once I went in there, I started being like them, rebellious, mad at the world, and you step on my shoes, I'm gonna shank you.
How long were you in there the first time?
Well, I was one of the lucky ones. I was sentenced to 2.5 to 5. They sent me to an Elmira correctional facility, which is like maybe 8 hours away from New York. Young kids. I remember that I was in a cell, and before that, I went to Fishkill before they going to, and they had a program, shot program, and I signed out. I said, "What?" They said, "Yeah, you'll be the first one to do this program in Albany. In 6 months, you'll be home if you do it." It was a military program, as 1987, and I did it. I completed the program. I was the first one, and nowadays I heard that it is a successful program, And but then when they sent me to Elmira is a max. The first time I was there, it was real bad. One young kid, black kid, he hanged himself in his cell, and those guards over there, they used to hate Spanish and black people. So the first thing is 6 o'clock in the morning. They used to play I wanna bailar la bamba, necesito una cosa, real loud, man, just for you to wake up in your cell. So it was scary. It was a little bit scary. I was like, oh, when they gonna pick me up? And one day they just came in and opened my cell, and they said, you were in transfer to Monterey. It's the camp, and shock. And I did it. I graduated from there. You had to do PT. You had to do running in the morning. You had to do everything. Was military. It was like a military school, military program. And I was the first one in the United States to do it.
How long were you in the first time?
I took that program. So altogether, it was like maybe 9 months. And I came back home, but I was on parole. And I messed up parole and went back to jail again. And I left my child and my ex-wife.
How did you feel the first time you got out?
The first time? Oh my God. I was very happy. I was nice and healthy because it was a military program, so you used to do a lot of push-up. You had to run 2 miles every morning, and you had to do a lot of drills, a lot of push-ups, a lot of running. So I came out real nice and healthy, and everybody was in the block was like, "Oh my God, Melvin, you look great."
How did you feel the last time you were in?
I was like pissed. I was like, "This is it," I told my mother, "This is it. I can't keep on doing this, going back and in and out now." I already had 2 kids already. And the last time that I went in, I took my boy to play in the snow. I remember that I kissed him and everything, and he was like maybe, oh my God, he was maybe a year. And the following day, I got arrested, and I went back. I went upstate.
How long was your last time?
Well, altogether, I did like 2.5. They sent me to a meeting facility. Before that, I became a Lion King. I got into a beef. I stabbed the guy, and they sent me to Clayton Correctional Facility, upstate, where Tupac was. Yeah, and I saw the board. They hit me with another year. Because of that. And then I came home. Yeah, I came home on that one. I came home.
Did you think the last time you were in jail that you would be back?
No, because I came out with a different mentality, change people, places, and things, and I got a little job. It was $6.50 an hour, I met this young lady, through mail, and that was in 97. And 98 I came out, and I met her in the train, and 2 months later I married her, and I left Boynton, Iron, where I was raised, when I was doing all the bad stuff, and I came to Midtown, and it's been 20 years. Nice and clean, working and everything.
How did you feel after getting out the last time?
After I got a job and everything, I felt great. I felt like a different person. I came out healthy again, nice and strong, And I already had this time around. I had a different mentality. I didn't want to keep on hurting my parents, so I did it right, and so far it's been so good.
Was it hard to get back into reality and be able to have a normal life?
In the beginning was a little bit, but I had this young lady that I met, so it was I went through it and with her, the thing was about get a job, work, and keep working, and everything will be all right. Stay out of trouble.
What did you do to stay out of trouble?
I moved out of the block because the block was trouble to me. I was in that block since 1970 something. So, from Puerto Rico back over here, and Puerto Rico back and forth. So, my oldest sons grew up, they were born in that block and everything. So, my brothers, and so it was a tough block where, if you don't get out of there, you're not going to be nobody.
What would you say to your 21-year-old self?
I was stupid. I should have, now that I know, now that my kids grew up and they're all doing great, I should have stood in school. But, I was a knucklehead, and, school in here in New York City wasn't like the school in Puerto Rico. Teachers didn't really, at that time, they didn't really care. So, but I should have stood in school. That's one of my regrets.
How do you feel about the life you have now?
I feel blessed. I feel blessed. Now I got two beautiful daughters too, second wife, and I work every day. I like to work, so I feel good. It's so different. It's been 20 years that I haven't, since I came out. 20 years. Yeah, 20 years since I came out. So, I haven't looked back. I still go to my old block because my father still lives there. My mother died, so my father's still there. So I go once in a while to see him, and maybe I'll be there like maybe 25, 30 minutes and not leave because a lot of bad memories and good, bad and good memories, but also about getting arrested there so many times.
What would you say to yourself from 20 years ago?
I came a long way. I never thought that I was going to get to this age. I'll be 53 on July 25th, and when I was doing my stuff in the street, I didn't think I was going to get to 30. So I came a long way, Been 20 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
The interview really had me thinking about how much my dad has done. Even if he doesn't see it, he went from in and out of jail to a hardworking family man. Whoever is listening, if you know somebody who has been in and out of a toxic situation, encourage them to see that things do get better. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. I'm Jasmine, your host, and this has been Double R, Real Stories from Real People.
That was Jasmine and her dad in Double R, Real Stories from Real People. Thank you to Flor de Lis Perez for working with Jasmine to make this story. And thank you as well to Avi Amon for providing original music. Everyone at the project was super impressed with the maturity that Jasmine brought to executing this radio story. So I sat down briefly with Jasmine to talk about her experience making this piece. I also checked in with her about making the transition from high school student to college student and from project member to project staffer. Here's our chat. And we're back. I'm in the studio with the host of Double R, Real Stories by Real People, Jasmine Correa. Hello, Jasmine. How are you?
Hey, Garrett. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I almost said project member Jasmine, but project member you are no more.
Nope.
Not even you're not even just an alumni. Now you're technically my coworker.
Yes, that's so weird.
Wow,
Oh
so special. Cool. So we just listened to your really amazing interview with your dad, and I just want to ask you a couple of questions just to reflect on that experience and what you took away from it. Ready?
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess I want to start with hearing from you. Have you heard any part of this story from your dad before?
Yeah, I actually have like certain parts, and in some ways more in depth of like what went on while he was in prison. So yeah, most of it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So for the things that you were hearing for the first time, maybe, was there anything that surprised you or anything that you were like, oh wow, that actually tells me a lot about you?
When during the interview,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I never had asked him like why was the first time he ever even went or ever got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
So finding out like his first time getting arrested and why it had happened was surprising to me, just because I just never really thought about asking him that. I always just asked him questions about how it was when he was in. I never asked him like, oh, why did it even start, or what did you take away from it? It just never crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, shout out to your dad. What I really appreciated, not only did I appreciate how direct you were with him, but I also really appreciate how direct he was to you. I think that was really cool to see, that he like trusts you and is able to like share those stories with you. And you're also like, you're getting to that age where it's like now you're no longer have like a child relationship to your parents. It's like that was my favorite part about growing up, I think. Like, and going, like, becoming a young adult is like, now my parents are more like my friends than they are like the people that tell me what to do. Even though I don't know. Do your parents still tell you what to do?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, my parents like to tell me what to do.
My parents' rules are, if I'm still living in their household, they still tell me what to do. Until then, it's still.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Was there a part of this interview that was difficult for you?
It was not really like difficult, but I was kind of nervous on if I even wanted to pursue like putting this into a podcast.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that like it's something very personal, and usually when I was younger, my dad would like to sugarcoat and be like, oh, when I was in Germany or whatever, just trying to hide it. Trying to hide it from us. But for me, it's like I've always really been into the whole criminal justice system. And I think it was just like the only thing that was really hard for me was making sure like he was open to doing it, and if that people would be open to even hearing about it, because it's something that's very personal. So it was just that.
Yeah, and I mean, I love how you frame the whole interview with your dad too. You're like, this is how I want to show that your past doesn't like define who you are now. I think that's a really important reminder, like no matter who you are. Is there anything else you want to share about the interview?
I would like to say, the reason I wanted to share this was because this my dad, he actually recently, it was that month that I made the podcast, was his 20th anniversary of being out of jail. And I'm very proud of him, and I know he's very proud of his kids, because though he went down a path that was very self-destructive, none of his kids came out to be in prison or doing any things that he did that weren't right at the time. So I guess I just want to share his story, because just to take away that stereotype of if a person comes out from jail, they're still the same person. And because my dad likes to say all the time, he went from a gangster to a hamster. Cause anybody who meets my dad now, he's very quiet, but he's very laid back and stuff. And so I just wanted to show this podcast to show people that just because someone comes out of jail doesn't mean that they're the same person that was in there.
It's awesome. So I want to shift gears just a little bit. So like I said, we're now coworkers.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about what you're doing now, because we did that radio making program in February of last year, in your last semester of your senior year. So what's shaken with you now?
Well, what's going on now, I was supposed to be going away for college, but things changed, and now I'm going to be in a CUNY school. But besides that, it's pretty much been I feel these past 3 months have been the biggest change in my life. From graduation to now, everything has changed so quickly, from the school I was gonna go into, and I wasn't even sure I was gonna have I was gonna do anything. I just thought it was gonna be school and that's it. But since I stayed here, thankfully the project, they helped me out, and now I get to work here as an office manager. So that's a really great thing, that I still get to come to the project, because I know a lot of kids who are alumni, they don't like to leave the project. It's something that we grew up with, and you guys all see us grow up, and it's that one moment once we turn 18 we have to leave. So the fact that I get to stay here and be a productive member of here makes it better. So.
And how are the first couple weeks of school going so far?
Well, my first week, because I changed school so last minute, a lot of my classes are in weird times, and especially I work here, so I have to fit in both things in a set schedule. So I do have school 6 days a week, and yes, I do have school on Fridays, and yes, I do have school on weekends, and they're all in the morning. So that was the weekend classes. It's not so bad. It's just every single day I have a class, and it's in the morning, which can be kind of rough. But my first week, I had a tally in the very beginning, the start of the week, and through the ending of the week, a lot of professors just weren't showing up, and I wasn't used to that. In high school, it was okay, you don't have a teacher coming in, we're gonna have a substitute or anything like that. But here, it was the first week, and I'm there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's 8:40, and the professor's still not there. And then there was one situation where I had a class, it was called a lab, and it's a class from 8 in the morning to 8:50 in the morning. So I'm here waking up for a 50-minute class, and we're all there. The whole class is just waiting there. The teacher never showed up. No email, no, hey, sorry, the teacher won't be here. He just never showed up. So that was kind of frustrating, but...
And it's you still got to do the work.
Yeah. And so then this week was my first week of weekend classes, because last week was last week was Labor Day weekend. And I've it so far. It's a very big different transition from high school. In high school, all your peers, they're your age, or at least a few years younger, a few years older.
Right.
And my Sunday class, for example, a lot of them are 20 years older than me. And it's so funny, because when they'll share topics in class, they'll be the kids in this generation. And I'm I'm a kid in this generation.
Yeah, hello.
And everyone else is just yeah, these kids, blah, blah. So the biggest transition for me right now is just the peers around me. It's not the same as if like I was in high school. Everyone's way older,
Right.
and stuff.
So now you got to prove these people who are talking smack about your generation wrong.
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing. Is there anything else you want to share about being a college student?
But yeah, with school, just anybody who's a senior or just thinking about college, really think about what you want to do, because the first few months before you like go to college or whatever you want to do after high school, it's really quick. I felt like this summer went by so quickly, and I had to make a bunch of decisions in days and weeks. It wasn't like, oh, I can worry about that next month. No, it was like you really have to think about it. So
Yeah. Well, that's a great place to end it. So thanks for coming in, Jasmine.
No problem.
Before you head home for the day.
Yes.
And thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
That was Jasmine, Project Alum and our new office manager. She's currently attending Borough of Manhattan Community College. And that's it for this episode. On to the credits. The Project Alum featured in this month's episode was Jasmine. The adult volunteers featured in this month's episode are Flordelise Perez and Avi Amon. The PROJcast theme song was created by Justin and his smart partner Eric March and performed by Marinda Anderson, Rebecca, and Nicole. The PROJcast logo was created by Iris Brown. Audio assistance from Jonathan Anderson, Avi Amon, and Brian Freeland. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search the 52nd Street Project and look for our logo. The 52nd Street Project is supported by public funds from New York City's Department of Cultural Affairs and the New York State Council on the Arts. The 52nd Street Project is a nonprofit organization, and we're able to do what we do because of generous folks like you. Please go to our website, 52project.org/donate, to check out how you can support us. Every little bit helps. Until next time, I'm Garrett Kim, and this has been the PROJcast.
See you next month.
Wait,
Nothing rhymes with month. On the 52nd Street PROJcast.